A murderer learns his fate.
His Honor gave incredibly detailed reasons. It was very thorough.
After admitting to stabbing his common-law spouse to death. Millions of dollars missed.
It's not what the residents are telling me they want to see.
The cost of Tecumseh rejecting fourplexes as of right. And Trump's tariffs.
We are nearing record levels for sure.
The impact on youth unemployment.
CTV News with Stefanie Masotti.
Good evening and thank you for joining us, and hello to those listening to us on AM 800. A Honduran man will spend the rest of his life behind bars in Canada for a moment of rage. We must warn our viewers and listeners the content of this story is upsetting. CTV's Bob Belichico was in Superior Court today for a sentencing of a man who has admitted to stabbing his common-law spouse in Leamington. Bob Belichico joins us now. Bob.
Stefanie, as expected, David Espinoza Montez was handed a life sentence here at Superior Court this morning. He'll be eligible for parole after serving 12 years of his sentence. There was no doubt 41-year-old David Espinoza Montez was going to receive a life sentence in the brutal killing of his common-law spouse, Charmaine Carling. She was just 33 years old when she was stabbed to death in her home in September of 2022. Justice Joseph Perfetto agreed with the defense and Crown's joint submission and agreed to sentence Espinoza Montez to 12 years parole ineligibility.
I'm happy for the family that there's finality in this matter, and my thoughts and my prayers go out to them.
Espinoza Montez, who has no prior record, sat quietly in the courtroom as Justice Perfetto shared the sentence in the hour-long hearing. He shared with the court how the brutal attack saw Espinoza Montez stab Carling 48 times with a knife and a pair of scissors in their home. Justice Perfetto properly characterized the incident as an act of intimate partner violence after Espinoza Montez acted in a fit of rage because of jealousy.
His Honor gave incredibly detailed reasons. It was very thorough. It followed all the jurisprudence that Nicole argued well in front of him.
Justice Perfetto noted he carefully considered the victim impact statements, quote, which in my view speaks to the devastation of Mr. Espinoza Montez's offending. He took into account the statement from Carling's sister, who wrote how simple tasks are hard to undertake now and that both of Carling's children have withdrawn from school because of the emotional anguish. Quote, losing her is such a betrayal at the hands of someone who she trusted, has shattered our sense of safety and left an ache that seems impossible to heal. No words can fully express how empty our hearts feel without her, the sister wrote to the court.
We have been talking to the family, and Victim Services has also been engaging with the family a lot as well. They want to move forward in this matter, and they are still grieving.
Justice Perfetto says Espinoza Montez had applied for refugee status after his work visa expired and at the time of the offense was subject to immigration hearings. He pointed out neither the Crown nor the defense lawyer discussed immigration status in their joint submission.
What the parole group chooses to do based on their algorithm and assessment is entirely up to them.
Justice Perfetto addressed family members who joined the sentencing hearing via Zoom and told them that he hopes as time passes that they are able to find healing and peace. Stefanie?
Bob Belichico with our top story tonight. Thank you for this, Bob. Windsor police have made 2 more arrests in the Crown Royal heist. This is surveillance video released by Windsor police of 2 of the suspects wanted for stealing $500,000 in Crown Royal in May. On May 17th, 1,000 boxes of whiskey were stolen from a secured lot on Devon Drive. The transport was driven out to the county, where that security camera caught the thieves transporting the load. A total of 8 people have now been charged in connection to this theft. You'll find a full list of their names and charges on our website, ctvnewswindsor.ca. A 36-year-old man has been arrested and charged with assault and forcible confinement after a 1-hour standoff last night. Police say it happened on Rankin Avenue, and a victim suffered non-life-threatening injuries after they were assaulted. The suspect barricaded himself inside, armed with an axe and a knife. He surrendered without incident after communicating with police. A Windsorite has been arrested in Toronto after being involved in a Palestinian protest. 23-year-old Jamil Nasser is charged with assaulting and obstructing a peace officer. Toronto police allege he was involved in a demonstration downtown last Saturday afternoon. They say the participants ignored requests to keep walking, to keep streets clear, choosing instead, authorities allege, to occupy a busy intersection. 10 others were also arrested by Toronto police. CTV meteorologist Gary Archibald joins me now for a first look at the top of the Bell Building. Gary, a warm, clear evening ahead.
You're right about that. Good evening, Stephanie. Good evening, folks. A bit warmer than yesterday. Bright and sunny. The air quality rated at 2, which is good. We want low numbers out of that scale, the AQI. And although it's close to about 30 degrees this afternoon, it has not felt oppressive. Ridge by pressure has kept us clear for the last few days. Things will change tomorrow afternoon. We'll start off sunny. It will be hot, even hotter than today, and the humidity will also ramp up. It could be sweltering and very active weather-wise. I'll break down what you need to know on all fronts just ahead. For now, I'll send it back to the desk.
Months, if not years, worth of Forplex debate is over in the town of Tecumseh. CTV's Travis Fortnum joins me now, and I understand it was a very heated meeting last night.
Yeah, I mean, this is a hot-button issue. It was when they discussed it in the city of Windsor, back when they turned the money down to boost housing. Then Tecumseh started the debate, to debate the idea, rather, and residents pushed back. Last night was no exception as tempers flared during the final debate.
Order.
It certainly wasn't a dull night at Tecumseh Council as the Forplex debate reached a boiling point.
I will clear the room.
I'll do you a favor. I'll clear, because in the face of unfairness and not democracy,
Order.
I'm leaving.
A vocal few residents spoke out, one even storming out as council debated whether to allow 4 units as of right. That's a key condition tied to millions in federal housing accelerator funding. And in the end, it was a 4-3 vote that settled the score. The town's deputy mayor, for one, saying he hears and agrees with those who don't like the stipulation.
This is wrong, and it's not what the residents are telling me they want to see, and it's certainly not my vision for the future of Tecumseh 10 or 20 years from now.
I know what you're thinking. Wasn't the town already announced to be getting that money last year? Well, kind of. Ottawa promised up to $4.4 million, but only a portion was paid up front. The rest was conditional, tied to the town following through on its housing plan, including allowing 4 units as of right, which council's now quashed.
The remaining funding probably not going to be coming to Tecumseh. But we do get to keep the 1.3, the original tranche of those dollars.
In a statement sent to CTV News, a spokesperson for the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation says conversations with Tecumseh are ongoing, and CMHC is committed to continuing our work with the town to assess the outcome of yesterday's vote relative to their half agreement. The agency confirms that receiving the full funding requires following through on the agreed action plan, including allowing 4 units as of right. The move to reject the half agreement may have been a local decision, but one housing expert says it's part of a bigger trend.
I think we're going to see a lot of municipalities do this, that after the city of Toronto voted down 6 plexes across the city, which was one of their housing accelerator fund requirements, the municipalities now think that there is a chance that they can have it both ways, that they can collect the funding and not necessarily live up to their full obligation.
Moffat warns that if Ottawa fails to enforce its own rules, it could undermine the entire program, but CMHC says compliance will be a factor, and whether or not Tecumseh gets the rest of its funding is dependent on that. Stefanie?
Yeah, a lot of the residents have very strong opinions about this.
Clearly, yes.
Yes, okay. Travis Sartnum tonight, thank you. So this also leads us to our question of the day. Do you agree with Tecumseh Council's decision to reject 4 housing units as of right? Go to our website to cast your vote, ctvnewswindsor.ca. Yesterday we asked, have you ever written off a vehicle? A small sample here because of a technical issue, but of 445 votes, 63% say no. On our website tonight, we have an article about the city's plans for delivering social services checks with the potential for another postal labor dispute. You'll find it at ctvnewswindsor.ca. The town of LaSalle will soon get its first commemorative crosswalk to honor military veterans. On Tuesday, council approved to install a Remembrance Day commemorative crosswalk. The design similar to this crosswalk in Ammerisburg at the corner of Dalhousie and Murray Streets. It will feature alternating red and white blocks across the crosswalk, a silhouette of a lone soldier, and the words "Lest We Forget" painted on the back of each end. The crosswalk will be located on Normandy Drive at the Cenotaph Park area and comes at a price tag of around $3,000. The work is scheduled to be completed in late summer. It's being described as respectful, simple, and impactful. Vipers fans will be able to enjoy a beer at upcoming hockey games. LaSalle Town Council has approved a pilot project. The Vipers and the Goat Tap-In Eatery will operate the alcohol service. Alcohol will have to be served near the concession stand, and there's only enough room for about 40 people. During the pilot, alcohol service will begin 45 minutes prior to the start of the game and conclude when there are 10 minutes remaining in the third period. This means Chatham will be the only team not offering alcohol at home games in the Junior B League. The latest job figures released earlier this month not only show Windsor is taking the U.S.-launched trade war on the chin, but the region's youth are getting hit hard too. For more, we go now to CTV's Ricardo Veneza tonight. Ricardo.
Remains stubbornly high and is nearing record levels when it comes to the hard numbers of young people unable to actually land a job. And there's no silver bullet here to reverse the trend, although trade peace with the U.S. would likely help.
What we're looking at here is youth unemployment trends.
This chart shows just how hard it is for young people to get a job today in the Rose City as unemployment surges.
We are nearing record levels for sure. There's approximately 8,000 persons that are youth, 15 to 24 years of age, looking for work right now in our region. That number has been as high as 10,000 in the past, so it's getting up there.
Workforce Windsor Essex and Justin Faulkner says there's no sugarcoating the numbers or the gap that's opened up between young men and women, with male youth unemployment nearing 22% compared to female youth at nearly 12%. And the tariff turmoil coming from the White House is likely largely to blame.
We know men are disproportionately impacted. They're 3 times more likely to be working in a U.S.-dependent trade.
We're seeing an influx of clients coming to us for our support.
Cassandra Seeler Van Every heads the CareerWise program at New Beginnings in Windsor, supporting high-barrier youth find work. Some who have seen their peers go their entire high school careers without getting a part-time gig.
My friends, I have friends like my age and everything who still have not had like a job yet, which back then you'd see like a lot of like 16, 17-year-olds having jobs. Now you're seeing like 20-year-olds, like people my age, still not having a job.
I want to become a real estate agent, so I've been looking for the sales type of positions, but you know how it is, money is needed. So I've been applying wherever I can, whoever's hiring, like at the end of the day, just somewhere I can get paid.
The provincially funded program helps support eligible clients with work placements, even assisting with uniforms, bus passes, or certifications. But Seeler Van Every says it can be major employers that are the toughest nuts to crack.
We struggle when we approach some of the bigger corporations or businesses out there because they often say they have to go to head office, or they'll say that they don't do the hiring on ground level, so it's hard to get our foot in the door with them.
And the challenges aren't over yet for young people trying to get their work life started, with Justin Faulkner explaining if labor demand remains weak for a prolonged period, the next cohort of young people coming up behind this one will be competing with the previous group for those same entry-level jobs, making it all the more difficult to bring down that youth unemployment figure. Stefanie.
Frustrating for sure. Okay, Ricardo Veneza tonight, thank you for this. A Chatham teen made his long-awaited return home after a challenging battle against cancer. 17-year-old Ethan Hunter returning home Tuesday afternoon to a celebration fit for a king. Hunter has spent much of the last 2 years battling a rare form of T-cell leukemia at hospitals in both London and Toronto. The teen's cancer is in remission after responding to a new trial drug. His return was highlighted by a police escort, a visit from the mayor, and a surprise welcome from family and friends.
Very, very rewarding. Not everybody is, I don't even want to use the word lucky because it's not luck. It's people, and Ethan fought this far. Ethan wanted to come home. God loves him.
This weekend, the town of Ammerisburg will be a car lover's dreamland come true. The 19th annual Ammerisburg Zone Car Crazy event takes place this Sunday from 10 until 4. It's free for all patrons, but a fee applies to those interested in entering their special vehicle to win some prizes. The single-day event usually draws 5,000 visitors. Car enthusiasts will see classic, iconic, and custom cars, both old and new. Event organizers suggest getting to the family-friendly event early.
There's the splash pad still open for, for families and for kids. There's the ice cream places that are open. There's the restaurants that are open. Some of the other stores are open. So there's, lots of things that way that you can do with family.
Still ahead on Windsor's news leader, 1 day away from a verdict in the high-profile sex assault trial in London. Meanwhile, in Ottawa, the sentencing request for the people responsible for the so-called Freedom Convoy protests held in the nation's capital. To a developing story out in British Columbia. Rescue teams are working to try and free 3 miners trapped underground at the Red Chris mine in northwestern BC.
There was an accident overnight. There are 3 miners that are currently trapped underground. They are, to the best of our knowledge, uninjured and in a refuge area.
2 of the workers are from British Columbia. The other is from Ontario. The Red Chris mine is an open pit gold and copper mine about 1,700 kilometers north of Vancouver. It first went into production in 2015. A ruling tomorrow in the high-profile World Juniors sexual assault trial involving 5 former players. It's a case that's played out almost every single day in the media, with every piece of evidence scrutinized. So what is the expectation? CTV's Adrian Gobriel with a recap of what has happened.
From teammates to champions to defendants accused of sexual assault.
This has been one of the most high-profile cases that we've seen in quite some time.
June 18th, 2018, following a Hockey Canada gala, a group of World Junior teammates meet a 20-year-old here inside this London, Ontario bar. Following a night of drinking and dancing, the young woman arrived here at this downtown hotel with Michael McLeod, where they had consensual sex. What happens next has been closely scrutinized. The verdicts now hinge on the legal meaning of one word.
This trial comes down to consent, whether the complainant consented to the sexual activity that did take place.
The young woman, who we can only identify as EM, claims that after having sex with McLeod, multiple players entered and, quote, manipulated and intimidated her into remaining in this hotel room where she says she was sexually assaulted.
And just said, like, are you okay with this? And she said yes.
The court has been shown a text message from McLeod inviting teammates to room 209 for a, quote, 3-way, something he didn't share with investigators when he spoke to London police in 2018.
She got on the bed and said, "Who wants to have sex with me?"
It's not just the interviews and testimony in this trial that have been shocking. April 23rd, just 2 days into the trial, a member of the jury claims that over the lunch break here inside this market, they had an inappropriate conversation with one of the defense lawyers for Alex Fermenton. A mistrial is declared. The jury is scrapped. May 26th, a second jury is dismissed here at the courthouse after Alex Fermenton's defense team are accused by jurors of laughing and making them feel uncomfortable, something the lawyers in question deny. Still, the jury is sent home. The proceedings continue as a judge-alone trial.
It's exceptionally rare for that to happen twice in one trial. It's not something that I've seen before.
Former World Junior Team captain Dylan Dubé, Cal Foote, Carter Hart, Michael McLeod, and Alex Fermenton have each been charged with sexual assault. McLeod is also facing one charge of being party to the offense. With the verdicts now being delivered by a single judge instead of a jury, the public will receive a reason for the decision, which is also expected to be shared tomorrow. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, London, Ontario.
2 Freedom Convoy leaders are facing a sentencing hearing in Ottawa. Tamara Leach and Chris Barber were found guilty of mischief for taking part in the convoy protests that occupied the downtown core for 3 weeks in 2022. The Crown is seeking a prison sentence of 7 years for Leach and 8 years for Barber. 2 days have been set aside for the sentencing hearings. Lake Erie has been on a bit of a wild temperature ride this summer, and one researcher says that's created a little uncertainty for the coming months. CTV's Jerry Dewan explains.
It was a surge in Lake Erie's average surface temperatures that caught Mike McKay's attention, reaching around 27 degrees Celsius.
Last week, there was some growing concern as the temperatures were starting to reach what had been in recent years the highest temperature, for mid-July. That was 2020.
McKay is director of the Great Lakes Institute for Environmental Research at the University of Windsor. He says extreme heat warnings issued by health units in late June and early July also impacted the lake, with overnight temperatures in the 20s offering little relief. It created a rare phenomenon known as hypoxia.
Hypoxia is when usually deeper waters in the lake lose their oxygen.
That can have 3 impacts. The first is discolored water in the drinking water supply. Not dangerous, but not pleasant. It can also contribute to blue-green algae, with farm fertilizer stored in sediments on the lake bed getting stirred up and feeding the algae. The third issue is the impact on small creatures that are an important part of the food chain.
Which really is what drives the impressive fishery we have in Lake Erie. Lake Erie has roughly 2% of the water in the Great Lakes, but about 50% of the fish. So commercial fishery on the Canadian side, massive recreational fishery on the U.S. side.
With another surge in high temperatures expected, McKay says he and other researchers will be closely watching the impacts on the lake. Jerry Dewan, CTV News.
The U.S. president gloating about reaching a trade deal with Japan, touting it as a big win. But is it? We know since the announcement of a reduced tariff from 25% to 15% on imported Japanese goods, there's been some relief on the markets. Here's the question. How does this play into not just Canada's negotiation, but the health of the auto industry overall? CTV's Abigail Beeman looks at the implication and the uncertainty around it all.
CTV News caught up with the Canadian Automobile Dealers Association in between meetings on Capitol Hill. Hugh Williams has logged more than 30 with lawmakers and the U.S. administration and is feeling encouraged about a trade deal, but not for the August 1st deadline.
Senior senators, have given us the pathfinding that they're optimistic that we're going to have some framework of a deal that will resolve the trading problems between our nations, ideally by Labor Day.
He says it would be unreasonable for Canada to have an agreement that looks worse than the new U.S.-Japan deal that sees auto tariffs cut to 15% from 27.5%.
That deal has a lot of attention in the Senate and congressional leaders that we've been talking to. And I think that the prevailing view is that Canada should have a better deal.
President Trump is finally putting a stop to our country getting ripped off.
But this week, as a result of Trump's tariffs, General Motors reported a 35% decline in second quarter profits with more hard times ahead, and Stellantis a $2.7 billion net loss in the first half of the year.
We're down about 30% in exports already this year from Canada in vehicles.
Flavio Volpe says he's taken aback by the 15% the Japanese agreed to, and it wouldn't work for Canada.
It's a bad deal. Better to slog it out than to lock in bad terms in the long term.
But it's still a good, valuable piece of insight into what might be achievable and what's the U.S. kind of baseline minimum tariff that might have to stick.
And this afternoon, multiple reports that the European Union is heading towards a similar tariff deal with the U.S. than Japan, a 15% tariff on EU imports into the United States, including autos. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Gains in consumer and financial stocks helped lift Canada's main stock index to finish higher. In Toronto, the TSX is up 52 points. In New York, the Dow added 508, the Nasdaq gained 127. The Canadian dollar claimed a modest gain of 0.14 of a cent. On commodity markets, gold dropped more than $46 an ounce. Oil fell 6 cents a barrel. Still to come on CTV News at 6, a new app unveiled to help victims of domestic violence. A bright and beautiful day filled with sunshine. Gary joins me again for an extended look. Gary.
Thinking about retirement on a day like today with temperatures warm but comfortable and a light breeze, blue sky. Yeah, it'd be nice to be on the links. Trying out some of my new irons. I got a little treat for myself for the summer golf season. Well, reality is the day job continues, and I can report that it was slightly above seasonal today by a couple of degrees. Cool to start, though, 13. Sunny for the most part throughout much of southwestern Ontario. And where we live here, we're seeing temperatures between 27 and 29 degrees Celsius. That's 81 to about 84 degrees Fahrenheit. Between Chatham-Kent and Windsor, it feels like 31 in Chatham-Kent. Mostly sunny conditions now through this early stage of the evening. And so too in Windsor, about 31 to 32 within the city limits. Across the lower Great Lakes, the warm spot headed east towards the nation's capital and beyond into southern Quebec, where we are in the mid to upper 20s. The prairies have cooled off, save for our good friends in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Starting to see temperatures creep up to about 25. There is significant rain and thunderstorm activity moving through northwestern Ontario, quite a bit away from us here, and the ridge of high pressure that's kept things quiet and clear and sunny for the most part will protect us. It will stay on the perimeter of that ridge and scoot further north and east of us, but the next system after that does bring some steady showers and maybe thunderstorm activity for Thursday, certainly through the evening, overnight into Friday and perhaps Saturday. Right now, this projection has at least through Thursday afternoon, most of it staying in upper Michigan, but by Thursday evening, say around 8, 9, 10, rain's coming. Talk more about that in just a moment. For tonight, enjoy a beautiful, sunny, warm evening. 8 o'clock sunshine, 26 feels like 31, clear through 10, clear through midnight, and still looking at an overnight temperature of about 20 degrees, feeling like 26 before dawn tomorrow. Hot and humid tomorrow, though. In the afternoon, 35 feels like about 43 to 44. The UV index is high. Then the showers Thursday night into Friday. Friday, 29, rainy showers. Saturday, possibly 28. And then fair weather Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Temperatures 30, 31, 32. 30, 32, 31, and then 25. Next week, we're going to cool down. For now, hot and hazy tomorrow.
Lifetime, brought to you by Safeguard Medical Alert Systems.
A new online platform helping domestic abuse survivors has launched in the Toronto area. Pauline Chan has more on the supports it offers and the plans to expand its reach.
Ellen Campbell is a childhood sexual abuse survivor and the founder of Abuse Hurts.
Today, it just hit me. today that, oh my gosh, this is what I needed 30 years ago.
She was speaking about a new online platform called Empower Web, being launched by Abuse Hurts, an Ontario-wide organization.
It started just to be around prevention and awareness, but now we provide support, for instance, products for people leaving abusive situations or starting over, housewares, toiletries, men, women, children. We service about 100 agencies and do about between 8,000 and 10,000 individuals a year.
Every 48 hours, a woman is killed in a domestic violence situation.
Helena Kamika says Empower Web was created to help fill the gaps in services for survivors.
And part of it was agencies were like silos and they weren't speaking to each other.
Empower Web can be accessed through any computer, tablet, or smartphone. But public libraries are a special place of safety for people in domestic abuse situations.
Your abuser, whoever that may be in your home, might have access to your phone, might have all your passwords, might have control of the computer, might not let you, really have any privacy at home. So we needed to find a safe place for people to go.
Right now, the platform quickly links viewers directly with various service organizations across York Region, whether you need counseling, clothing, or other support. And as Empower Web develops more partnerships, the hope is to expand beyond York Region to the whole of Ontario and eventually all of Canada. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
The Ontario Hospital Association warns efforts to find efficiencies in the healthcare system can only go so far. The report says Ontario spends just over $1,900 per person for hospital funding, the lowest of any province. The OHA says the province would have to spend another $4.4 billion per year if spending matched the national average. But the report says it's not realistic to expect any further efficiencies using traditional approaches as the population grows and ages and cost pressures rise. The association says thoughtful planning is needed to expand hospital capacity and invest in innovative approaches to shape the future of healthcare across Ontario. The United Nations World Food Program is warning that the people of Gaza are now living in famine-like conditions.
More than a third of the people are going for multiple days without any meal at all, without any food. We have up to 100,000 women and children are suffering from severe acute malnutrition.
The WFP says that up to 1/4 of Gaza's population, 500,000 people, are living in famine-like conditions. More than 100 aid organizations have been called on the Israeli government to end its blockade of Gaza. Israel says it is allowing ample aid into the besieged territory.
It's not good, and we need a lot of rain.
Coming up on Windsor's News Leader, a drought grips farmers in Manitoba.
One of the biggest touring comedians is coming to Caesars Windsor. Tom Segura is bringing his Come Together tour to the Coliseum stage Thursday, September 4th. Enter online at ctvwindsor.ca for your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to see Tom Segura at Caesars Windsor, plus a $250 gift card.
If it feels like mosquitoes have been especially bad in Ontario this summer, well, public health officials say that's no surprise. Hot, humid conditions have created the perfect breeding ground, and work is underway to ensure the pests aren't spreading West Nile virus. CTV's Colton Weens reports from Waterloo Region.
This is how the region of Waterloo checks for West Nile virus in the community. 16 traps are set up in popular spots for mosquitoes across the region that capture adults for testing.
And then we submit it to the lab where they count how many mosquitoes they have, they identify the species of them if they're of concern to transmit the West Nile virus, and they test them for West Nile virus as well.
A seemingly simple design, dry ice is placed inside, which attracts the mosquitoes as it transforms into carbon dioxide gas, and a battery-powered fan traps the insects in a cup.
It depends on the environmental conditions, but it can be up to 200, but it can be as little as 2 mosquitoes.
Results are usually within the end of the week.
West Nile virus is carried by mosquitoes and can cause mild to severe illness. It spreads when they feed on an infected bird and then bite a person. Cases of West Nile virus have not been found in any pools of mosquitoes or in any humans in the region this summer, but a dead bird has tested positive for the virus. The region does say because of the transient nature of birds, a higher priority is placed on mosquito pool testing.
Traps would be increased in the event that there was a hot spot or there was an area of concern, but typically the 16 would be monitored throughout the summer.
Musa says the hot and wet summer has allowed for an increase in mosquito breeding. That's why beyond the testing, public health wants residents to take precautions around their properties by removing any standing water, ensuring screens are on all windows and doors, wearing protective clothing, and using insect repellent.
Change their water baths, change their ornamental ponds, at least once to twice weekly, any unused equipment on their property to remove. In addition, if there's any buildup of leaves and debris in the eaves trough, to allow the water to not stand on their property, because mosquitoes do love standing water.
The region does conduct larviciding to eliminate larvae before they develop into adults. Residents can also contact public health for help with any standing water on their properties or to report any standing water on public land that might need to be assessed. As well, it's recommended anyone who finds a dead bird should report it directly to the Canadian Wildlife Health Cooperative. Colton Weens, CTV News.
A lack of rain and hot conditions is having a massive impact on farmers in Manitoba. Communities in that province are now declaring states of emergency. CTV's Alex Karpa shows us the impact.
This corn should be considerably higher than this.
Lyle Thorgilson has not seen his fields this bad in years. Drought conditions in Manitoba are severely impacting his crops.
You can see the yellowing of the plant here and stuff. That's drought stress.
For perspective, this is what Thorgilson's cornfield looked like in 2023. And this is what it looks like now. Significant damage done due to little rain.
It's probably one of the tougher crops, and there's still maybe hope that we can get some tonnage out of it for feed for the cattle. But yeah, it's stunted for sure.
From a distance, this oat field looks like it's thriving, but in reality, as you can see, it's not. In parts of this field, the oat is barely growing, a problem that many farmers are dealing with right across the province. 2 rural municipalities in the province declared states of emergency last week due to the agricultural disaster.
It's not good, and we need a lot of rain.
It's not just farmers in Manitoba hurting, so too are many in Saskatchewan, with communities in that province also declaring states of emergencies. Virgil Johnson says it's not just people who will be affected, but livestock too.
We're not sure how far-reaching these conditions are, and where the local producers are going to be able to source feed to carry them through the winter to maintain the herds they have.
In addition to the drought, smoke from wildfires could gravely impact food products moving forward, but one expert says it's too early to tell how this will affect consumers at the grocery store.
Smoke could actually impact the quality of grains at harvest, and that could also impact the revenues of farmers in the end, and they could get less money for their product.
We've had to put more money into these crops than usual.
As for Thorgilson, he is praying more rain falls so he can salvage some of his crop. Alex Karpa, CTV News, Lundar, Manitoba.
Have a story idea or news tip for us? Text us at 10400. You can send photos and videos now too.
Unscripted, unpredictable, and unapologetic. Wake up with Hannah and Johnny on 93.9 Virgin Radio.
This is your CTV Windsor Our Community Calendar. Come walk or run at this year's Run for Rocky event on Saturday, August 9th during Windsor Essex Pride Fest weekend in support of local gay, straight alliances. See you next time on Our Community.
It's time to check in on what's happening now with Melanie Kentner. And Melanie, more for us tonight on youth unemployment.
Stefanie, Workforce Windsor Essex says another thing driving up unemployment is fewer summer jobs. According to Justin Faulkner, the Government of Canada isn't supporting as many summer jobs as they used to. In 2022, the Canada Summer Jobs program offered more than 100,000 jobs. This year, it's down to around 70,000. Plus, full-time high school students are not eligible for the program.
It's important that people have opportunities to find and secure work, and youth are particularly vulnerable. They have a lot less work experience. They often have a misalignment with skills that they would need on the job. I think the introduction of AI in the workplace, could possibly be disruptive.
We've got more unemployment stories at ctvnewswindsor.ca.
And we also got a story on our website, Melanie, with some good news for LaSalle residents.
Yes, LaSalle has the lowest crime severity index out of 43 Ontario municipal police services. Statistics Canada said the CSI for LaSalle Police Service is 21.2, which is a 15% decrease from the previous year. That's also significantly lower than the provincial average of 60.6. The CSI for Windsor Police is 80.3, and for Essex County OPP is 57.2. You can check out other ratings in the link on our website. And in our social spotlight, there are two types of people when it comes to packing for a trip. Oh yeah, so Type A is completely ready to go, and Type B only has a cowboy hat in the suitcase. And the flight is the next day at 6 a.m. So Stefanie, which one are you?
Without a doubt, Type A. I love how they say Type A sister or Type B sister for sure. I'm Type A, and at least one of my sisters definitely Type B. But I know you're on the B side.
Yeah, I used to be Type B for sure until I had kids, and then I had to become a little bit more Type A because, you got to be prepared before you go somewhere.
Yeah, you got to start like 2 weeks in advance packing when you have some kids. Okay, thank you, Melanie. And that's what's happening now. A Windsorite's artwork is part of a new nationwide contest at McDonald's. Identified only as Suraj. This is the artwork of a Windsor employee. The artwork of 17 employees across Canada was selected to be on packaging and in restaurant displays. 60% of McDonald's workforce is under 25 years of age. This contest, the company says, was meant to highlight their unique skills and level of creativity out of the 100,000 people who work for the chain across Canada.
They just stay wherever I am.
Building a bond coming up after the break and weather. A Nova Scotia woman has a special relationship with a family of bald eagles.
The latest news to start your day.
Interviews, conversations with the top officials, the difference makers, and personalities in Windsor Essex.
Only on Windsor Essex #1 morning show.
It's Mornings with Mike and Meg on AM 800.
It was a pleasant day outside today.
Yeah, and I'm serious about the retirement.
I bet.
Right, because
I'm ready right now,
with
too.
weather like that, right? Got new golf clubs.
Yes. Exciting.
Have to stretch it out on the links. Temperatures are going to warm up. Tomorrow's going to be a hot day. And remember, about 2.5 weeks ago, we were dealing with heat warnings, in particular across southwestern Ontario. So it could feel like 44. Now I'm looking at some thunderstorm activity around supper time tomorrow. So it's going to be an active, sultry day. We're still warm on Friday and cloudy with showers. The weekend starts off with showers, ends with some fairer weather with temperatures in the upper 20s, and then we are in the 30s for the most part to start next week, Monday, Tuesday. Fair weather before we'll see a cool off as we approach Tuesday, Wednesday, a week from now.
Okay, thank you. Ricardo, the top politicians in our country have been very busy over the last couple of days.
Yeah, they're holding a major summit in cottage country. Ontario's cottage country, of course, focused on tariffs and trade. They met for the final day of that 3-day summit in Huntsville, and they're working to insulate their economies from U.S. tariffs and what looks to be a prolonged trade war launched by the White House. Talks today, though, shifting to healthcare and public safety. We'll get a look at what was actually accomplished. And, of course, much more tonight at 11. Steph.
Okay, thank you. And they're wild, majestic, and a little noisy. And a homeowner in Mineville, Nova Scotia, wouldn't have it any other way. CTV's Hafsa Reef visited a woman who shares her property with a family of bald eagles.
Every morning at 5, the calls start.
Parents come with food, and they make one racket.
It started 3 years ago when a pair of bald eagles built a nest above Linda Rick's garage. And since then, inside it, a family has grown year by year.
In 2023, they raised one, and last year 2, and this year, so fortunate, we had 3. So it's just a blessing. I'm just so thrilled.
Linda has been here for all of it. Every flap, every drop of fish, and every loud morning wake up.
I don't think they want to leave. Here we go.
The youngest of this year's brood has been taking its time flying, sort of, but staying close to home.
Some now, they've decided to go back to the nest. All 3 of them. Don't ask me why. Maybe the mother prefers to feed them there. It's so sweet. And I have seen birds, so they have been bringing birds to them, too.
She's learned their patterns, their personalities, and their favorite spots.
When I first saw one on the ground, I opened the back door, and he was sitting on my rocking chair right at the back door within a couple feet.
They built the nest, but Linda built the bond. She says she's not just a neighbor to the eagles, she's their mother, minus the feathers.
They just seem so used to me that they don't scare me. They don't fly at me. They just stay wherever I am.
Seasons change, eaglets grow, and nests fall. But one thing is certain, Linda will be here watching from the porch, heart wide open. Hafsa Arif, CTV News, Mineville.
Her face has complete bliss. She truly enjoys living with these eagles.
She's their godmother,
Yes,
right?
yes.
My late uncle on Vancouver Island had some property with some eagles and trees and elk roaming. It was always wonderful to visit, so I'm fond of the bird, no doubt. Reminds me.
Yeah, I don't think she's got a rat problem with those neighbors.
No.
There you go. They're cleaning up.
No problem whatsoever with that. On behalf of our dedicated team here at CTV News Windsor, thank you for watching.
For updates throughout the evening, go to ctvnewswindsor.ca.
And I'll see you again tonight at 11, of course, for your late look at local news.
Good night.
Good night.